Here's a stat for you. The Avs have scored 13 goals so far this season. Only 6 of them have come at 5-on-5, so less than half. And really, 2 of those 5-on-5 goals came immediately after a power play expired. So it's more like 4 5-on-5 goals. That's 1 goal per game. And in this game, they scored 0. Avs lose the Boston Bruins 5-3. Through the first 2 periods of this game, the Avs only mustered 11 shots on goal, and a good chunk of those came on the power play. Only 8 at 5-on-5 through 40 minutes of hockey. That is not good enough. But that's an understatement, because every single part of this game, except for the Avs power play, was not good enough. They didn't start particularly well, but at least Alexander Georgiev was making some saves for them. But their entire inability to generate nearly any offense in the first 2 periods of this game was something that was never going to lead to success. A distinct lack of possession gives the other team the advantage. The Avs know this well because they're usually the team out-possessing everyone. Enough opportunities against eventually lead to a breakthrough. A battle for the puck in the corner ultimately gets slipped to the other corner, where Boston is able to get to it first and get possession of the puck. The Avs just get a little bit loose with their defensive coverage, a little bit of a crossed wire. DeHaan is on the backside of this play and covering essentially nothing. Maybe he's worried about a man sneaking out the backside, but that's not really on the table, as Malinsky is going to take away that behind the net guy option, and you're left with a guy in the middle that it's either has to be Parker Kelly or Calvin DeHaan doing a better job of covering this guy, whether that's getting in the passing lane or potentially staking his stick away or actively just out-muscling him out of the position. But that doesn't happen. All 3 skaters kind of just float around the man without actually covering him. The player in position to most effectively stop this is a better job by Parker Kelly getting into the passing lane. But again, DeHaan essentially covering nothing on the backside. In a bang-bang play, you'd like to see him step up, but I understand that that's hard to read in the moment. This pass gets through Ivan to the middle, and if you're not going to play the man, you can't let this puck get here. It does, and the redirect is in the back of your net. I say this a lot every year, but it's worth reminding people. Yes, the Avs do not protect the net front physically particularly well with their defense. That's a choice that they've made. They're not going to win position in battles like that net front or force guys out because, you're right, they aren't that big. The way they have defended the net front for years now is by preventing pucks from getting there in the first place. Having very good sticks in passing lanes, having the ability to win stick battles and stick lifts in front of the net, and generally just not letting pucks get to the dangerous areas. All well and good systemically, but like on that play, when you let the puck get there, you get beat. That's bad defense. Thankfully, despite the Avs' lack of effective 5-on-5 play, Boston managed to take some dumb penalties, including 2 tonight in the offensive zone, and the Avs cashed in. The Avs have full possession in the offensive zone here off of essentially the faceoff. Mikko does a good job being strong on the puck, draws 2 players to him to open up space for the Avs as he's able to slide this through to Colton. Colton goes back to Makar, and now Boston is chasing the play a little bit here. They're a little discombobulated, and Makar is able to work the defense nicely. He looks towards McKinnon, pulls the man in the middle of the ice over, and at the same time, when he holds on to it, pulls the high man up to him. This leaves room for him to ultimately take his time and find Colton in the middle. Colton now has a ton of space to work with. He opts to slide down to Mikko while working to the wall. And now you find all of this space taken advantage of. With Makar dragging out the high man, he's left a little bit of a gap for Colton to work into here, especially because Mikko now has to pull the low man down into the corner. When you combine this fact with, guess what? People are usually paying attention to Nathan MacKinnon. It becomes very hard for Lindholm to slide up and take the middle of this ice away from Colton, who's going to be coming in here. This leaves a great play for Mikko to perfectly sauce the pass to Colton, and that's enough room for a beautiful shot from Colton to jump on it. This is a hard game to judge for me, for the Avs' best players, because they absolutely make magic happen on the power play, like on that goal with Colton. A beautiful setup, a great finish, and great. Both Makar and Rantanen would go on to have 3-point nights in this game, but they gave you less than nothing at 5-on-5. All of the Avs' best players at 5-on-5 finished on the wrong side of the possession battle, and obviously they just didn't score at all at 5-on-5. That's not just the Stars' fault. You do need a little bit of help from your depth there, and I don't think the Avs have gotten enough from their depth over these 4 games. Some of that is understandable given all the players they are missing, but at a certain point you still need production from somewhere. And I have no notes about the power play. It was awesome. I do have some notes about the PK though, which gives that goal back 2 minutes later. Boston starting their breakout on their power play here. There's really nothing fancy to this breakout. It's a get to the red line and throw the puck in the zone. It ends up taking a weird bounce and going Boston's way. Okay, that's unfortunate for Colorado, but it does not change the fact that on the penalty kill, there's no universe where you should ever get beat to your own net, and that's exactly what happens on the backside of this play to Miles Wood. Now, in a perfect world, Girard intercepts this pass. He's playing to intercept it, and he just fails to do so. It's a great pass between his legs. A little bit of credit to Boston here, but Miles is just doing nothing effective on this play. The high man is already covered by the other forward. Miles is just not doing the correct thing here, and it's in the back of his net. This is the penalty kill. You can't be getting beat on the rush on the penalty kill. You're not even crossing the red line with 3 of your players. That's ridiculous for you to get caught and fall asleep like that. And unfortunately, later in this game, Miles Wood would get hurt. We don't have information yet, but it did not look good on the ice. And that's really tough for Colorado. The Avs can't really afford more injuries in any way, shape, or form, especially to the forward core. As I mentioned, they're already quite thin, and it's not going to get any easier if Wood is out. And just like that, it's another period that the Avs have lost. I absolutely hated the second period. I thought it was truly awful hockey from the Colorado Avalanche. They struggled to generate pretty much anything, and it even gets worse than that. On the few chances they did create, one of 2 things happened. They either passed up a golden shooting opportunity to make a pass that is way too cute, or when they did shoot the puck, they simply missed the net. The Avs attempted 12 shots at 5-on-5 in the second period. Only 4 of them hit the net. You're missing the net with 2/3 of your shots at that point. Not really quality, sustainable offense. Boston breaking out on their power play from their goalie. Just to note, the Avs continuing through all 4 games, they've had this high forward on the PK to take away things like the drop pass, and it's been pretty successful at doing that. Boston going to get the zone, and honestly, this is just a great play by Pastrnak. He falls down, but he's still able to get the zone and slide the puck across. A nice pass from his belly to get the offensive zone possession for Boston. That's just a great player doing something great. You got to give him credit for that. From here, chaos ensues. Because Kivi Ranta gets tied up with Pastrnak, he loses his stick. So he has to find this stick, pick it back up, and then he's behind the play. It's just the reality of it, and him being a step behind the play costs the Avs a goal. As this play develops, the puck comes down this left wing, and you're going to see Boston takes advantage of Kivi being behind this play perfectly. They slide 1 man to the slot, and they slide a 2nd man to the back post in Pastrnak. And this is pretty much just undefendable as far as the Avs are concerned. You have Makar working on the puck carrier. Maybe in a perfect world, he has a 6th sense and reads that he needs to cover in front of the crease because DeHaan is ultimately taking the man in the slot. And this is a good read by DeHaan. He does his check. He sees the imminent threat is the guy in the high slot. He has to respect this. His stick can't be in 2 places at once, taking the slot away and taking the back post away. This is just solely on Kivi Ranta being behind the play. He needs to find a way to keep up with Pasta here and deny this opportunity, and he just doesn't even get involved. Eerily similar to the other power play goal they gave up, although that one's slightly less on the rush. It's the type of plays that keep happening to the Avalanche. The type where on a one-off, bad luck. 4th, 5th, 6th time this is happening, you guys are doing something wrong at that point. Why stop there, though? Why not give up a softie immediately after that to seal your fate? So, a rimmed-in puck gets mishandled by Georgiev. That allows an initial possession for Boston in the first place. As they ultimately win the battle for the puck out of the corner, this gets thrown up high to Lindholm. Lindholm walking down on the corner against Alexander Georgiev. Up the boards. Oh no, we've seen this before. Yep, this puck is going in the net. It's a bad goal. The team in front of him was not any good at 5-on-5 tonight, so this is far from on Georgiev that the Avs lost this game, but that right there is what was ultimately the game winner. Poor play in front of him or not, he has an .833 save percentage for the game. Just like everyone else needs to be better, so does Georgiev. The Avs do manage to pull one back in the second period to keep it to a 2-goal deficit, thanks to the best defenseman on the planet. Avs with possession on the power play, they're working this near side, and eventually you go to the McKinnon thing. You've seen this a million times from the Avs, just umbrella back and forth. But then things start to get more interesting. McKinnon looking for and hitting the seam pass through to Mikko. Mikko double clutches this one, though. It's not the one-timer, and that means he drags everybody to him. Boston, in a full panic, forgets about the best defenseman on the planet. Cale Makar absolutely unleashes on that one. Here's a fun stat. By the end of this game, Cale Makar would have 8 points this season. That's enough to put him 5th in scoring for all skaters in the league, and he's 2 full points ahead of the next closest defenseman. So yeah, Cale Makar is playing very, very, very well offensively, arguably better than any other defenseman. And yet the Avs are still losing. I will say, Makar is also in that bucket of 5-on-5 players who did not play great. I don't think it was a particularly good game defensively for him in this one at 5-on-5. With that being said, it was far better than his game the other night against the Islanders. I know a lot of people are looking at the defense of this team as the major problem, but for me, it's the 5-on-5 production. They need to be scoring more, especially in these last 2 games where they've gotten passable-ish goaltending. And 3 power play points is awesome. The Avs are not even competitive in this game without Cale Makar and that power play, but ultimately, they never had a lead in this hockey game. And I will give the Avs a ton of credit. Despite falling behind in every single game they've played so far by multiple goals, I've never seen them quit. They've continued to battle back every single time. They've made these games more competitive than they probably should be. They're just not able to fully overcome the hurdles of their poor play. They get it to within 1 early in the third on another power play. The high forward thing I mentioned for the Avs is actually pretty popular around the league this year, and the Avs have gone away from the drop pass here. They're allowing Makar to break pucks out with passes up to the half wall, and they're looking a little bit more often at things like dump and chase level plays on the power play. The Avs are able to make this one work with some good pressure up that near wall. McKinnon ultimately stopping the puck on the half wall. It's able to spring out to Makar. Makar makes great reads here. He sees the open man in Rantanen. And this is not Rantanen's best shot, but it manages to kick off Korpisalo and still go in. Yeah, let's be honest, that's a puck that probably should have been stopped by Korpisalo. It can happen to other teams too. You can get away with it with a multi-goal lead though. You can't get away with it so much when you're chasing. And that was it. The Avs did play better at 5-on-5 in the third period. They mustered a significant number of shots more than in the first 2 periods. But ultimately, a lot of that was Boston going into the turtle, and honestly, playing an effective turtle. Boston gave up 0 high-danger chances in the third period at 5-on-5. So while the Avs were shooting more, they were not really getting more quality. An empty netter on a bad Nathan McKinnon turnover ultimately puts this game away, and a tip of the cap to Boston. They were a better hockey team in almost every facet tonight. The only thing that wasn't good for them was their penalty kill, but they still scored 2 power play goals to at least keep up, and then outplayed the Avs entirely at 5-on-5. With that being said, I'm certain that the Avs are capable of playing significantly better than this at 5-on-5. You don't even have to look that far to find it. Go back to the opening game of this season against Vegas. Outside of their goalie, the Avs played pretty darn good at 5-on-5 in that game. But this is now 2 straight games of pretty poor quality play from your skaters at 5-on-5, and that puts you at an 0-4 record. It is what it is. 0-4 is obviously bad, but we haven't drifted into disaster territory yet. You should absolutely be concerned about this start. This has gone from a slow start to the Avs need to turn it around immediately territory. As I put it on the podcast, the sky isn't falling yet, but it's definitely raining out there. You should be concerned. And if this stretches to 0-5, now you should be really concerned. If this stretches to 0-6, yeah, panic is going to start to set in at that point, and certainly justifiably so. I truly believe the Avs are a better team than they've shown in these first 4 games, even with all of the injuries that they're dealing with. But if they don't show it soon, it might not matter. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. I am Rudo, and I just want to review a win, man.